Okay, good afternoon, Melton. It has been, well, if it's your first time seeing me today, hello, welcome. If you saw me at earlier on Super Saturday Tour, welcome back. As I mentioned last week in my Instagram story and earlier on Said Live, this live today is going to be about the Melton Bid Business Awards, or the MBBA. So the idea of today is we are going to walk through the nominations process. We're going to talk about sponsorship packages. We're going to talk about the different categories. We're going to talk about what makes a good application so that you can go either at the same time as this or after the live is done and go and submit your nominations on there. So I'm going to maximize that. And what's going to happen now is I will check. Yeah, I can still speak. Bad dabby dozy. So you will see a PowerPoint that looks like this. What I will do now is I will, the first time I've ever done this, do that. Here we go. Right, so couple of ground rules regarding questions today. You're more than welcome to submit them, put them in the comment section, and I'll ping up on my stream here. And if it's coming up, I'll say watch this space, it'll come. And if it's not coming up, then I will answer it there and then. Basically, is the dealio for today. So, without further ado, let's start with those key dates for your diary. So, nominations this year are going to close at 11:59 midnight on the 30th of June. So you've basically got until the end of the month. In early July, a brand new thing for this year's awards, every business that's received at least one nomination will be doing a separate form, not one that we're going to go through this live, that's going to give the judges some additional context about their business. So the judges, when it comes to shortlisting time, will look at both the nominations and that specific form. The judges will then go and deliberate and shortlist. So finalists should find out late July, August time, depending on how long it takes for the judges to shortlist, because we have, as you'll see later, got additional categories this year. The finalists will be informed and the finalists will then be announced. And then all of the finalists, alongside the silver and gold sponsors, who we will discuss shortly, will be invited to come to the Harbour Hotel on the 18th of September for the actual ceremony. So now you've got those in your diary. Let's look at those aforementioned sponsorship packages. So following on from feedback, both from this last year and just in general, seeing different events this year, the planning committee really wanted to not only have clear sponsorship packages, but also sponsorship packages that could fall within most budgets as far as businesses in the borough are concerned. So the cheapest package I'm going to walk you guys through is going to set you back £100. The most expensive one is going to set you back £750. So let's start with that cheapest package, the MBBA goodie bag. This is going to set you back £100. And it's basically what it says on the tin. You give the planning committee £100 and you will be invited to put an item in the official goodie bag that will be given to all of the attendees of the night. So what you put in that bag is up to you. You could do a business card, you could do a flyer, you could do an exclusive awards discount voucher, you could do something branded. Basically, whatever you choose, the idea is it goes in the bag and it's 200 pairs of eyes that will go and see your particular business in there for the price of £100. Now, something else to note as well is, I know it says £100 for businesses, but if you are a community group that is looking for members, or just awareness as a whole, and you've got that £100, then you are more than welcome to pass it on to the planning committee. I will give you the details of all the sponsorship packages at the end of this section before we actually go for the form. So I say business in the general sense here. We'll kind of fine tune a bit more on that when we get not only in the sponsorship packages, but within the noms itself as well. So next step up from our bag package is our bronze package. So our bronze package, that's going to set you back £250. So your business logo and your business bio both are going to be featured on the Melton Bid website. And you will also get a shout out on Melton Bid social media. So Facebook, as I've already mentioned, has got 4,600. Instagram, they're also on Instagram, and they have recently set up a brand new TikTok account. So that's 3 different platforms that you'll get shouted out about, especially ideal if you are a business that's not necessarily on the likes of TikTok or Instagram. So that's going to set you back to 250. Our silver package, that's going to be £500. So that's all of the bronze package perks. So your bio and your platform push, alongside 2 tickets to the awards, where we will feed you and you will be able to clap for all the various finalists and award winners. You will get a feature in the actual program that will be given out on the night. And you will also get your logo put on the Garden Lounge big screens. So if you don't know about the big screens in the Garden Lounge, basically there's a selection of television screens dotted around there. So your logo will be on there the whole night on these TV screens, so that you're constantly seeing everybody. That logo of yours is everywhere. Last package is that 750 package, and that is your gold package. So alongside the dedicated feature of the awards host on the night, we've got the planning committee have got a fabulous PA this year for that. And you will also get to join the judging panel. Woo. You will also get all the perks in the silver package. So that's your bronze perks, your Garden Lounge big screen, your feature, your shout out on social media, etc. But you'll also get the perk of the goodie bag package. So you will be able to get your little item of choice and put it in the goodie bag as well. And then you get, alongside both that silver and that bag package, you also get the chance to judge and that dedicated feature as well. If you are like, could take or leave the judging, not necessarily have a thing about the awards host, but you want to bag, then feel free to speak to James, who I've given you the contact details for, about the ability to add the bag package to your bronze or silver package, depending on which one you go to. If you want to do that instead, ultimately speak to him and see if you can work something out. So if you want to become a sponsor, you've got 3 ways to do so. So option 1 is to email James. That is info@meltonbid.co.uk. Option 2 is to call or text him on 07954 817 505. Alternatively, when we go for the nomination form in a bit, there is a box that you can tick to say that you would be interested in doing a sponsorship. If you tick that box, that then gets passed on to James, and James will contact you directly for more information. So now we've spoken about the money part, let's talk about what most of you are here to discuss today, and that is the nominations themselves. So this year we have got 17 categories altogether, 16 of which that you can submit a nomination for. Why can't you not submit a nomination for the last category? I will explain at the end. So let's firstly start with the 3 new ones, which are local professional service, best restaurant-based takeaway. So following on from feedback from last year, we decided to split best restaurant and takeaway into 2 separate categories. So we've got best restaurant, best takeaway. That's why those 2 are new. In addition, following on from feedback, we found that things like estate agents, accountants, legal, etc., kind of needed a category to fall into. So we have implemented medical professional service for that. So that's our 3 new ones. So let's kind of go through, before we show you the form, these 16 and what they're about. So arts and culture. We have submitted a bid for the UK Town of Culture. And we also have a very big thing with the arts. We've not only got the performing arts at the theatre and our various festivals, such as Scarfest, Glastonbury, the Wheelings Festival, etc. So we got our music festivals, we got the theatre, we got things like Kick at the Arts as well. So anything that falls within like the visual arts, so painting, photography, performing arts, musical theatre, live music, drama, all anything that kind of causes people to gather and exchange ideas, they would all fall in the arts and culture category. Best beauty, that's going to be your salons and your hairdressers. Best cafe and coffee shop, pretty self-explanatory. Best independent business. Now, this is a open category. It's an incredibly popular category. And the reason it is so popular is because it is open to anybody as long as they are not a chain, basically. Local food producer. So this is if you make your own local food and drink within the borough. So this one gets a little bit confusing. So let me explain what I mean by that. So if we take Burnley's make ice cream. Burnley's make fantastic ice cream. Burnley's ice cream tastes absolutely bloody lovely. Speaking as someone who has a tub of it in her freezer, the other half's freezer, should I say, and has gone and had many a cone from there. Burnley's would count as a local food producer because they made the ice cream. They got the cows, they got the milk from the cows, they turn the milk into ice cream, and then they sell their ice creams on to other people. Biscotti's would not count as a local food producer, despite the fact they too sell Burnley's ice cream because they didn't make the ice cream. Burnley made the ice cream and then sold it to them. Just like if Round Corner made their beer, they would count as local food producer. However, somewhere like the Bell in Frisbee would not count if they sold Round Corner beer because they did not make it. What the Bell in Frisbee could be nominated for is Best Pub or Hospitality. So this is your pubs, hotels, nightclubs. This is one if you want to nominate tubes that would fit in there. That serves them. Restaurant takeaway, we've already discussed. Restaurants you eat in, one takeaway is your takeaway or delivery. Business person of the year, so the rest of the categories focus on organizations. Business person of the year focuses on the person. So if you know someone who goes above and beyond within their business, they're a leader in that particular field, they're always doing stuff for the community, that's the one there. Health and well-being, so that's going to be things like your therapy, so your physical, emotional therapies, counselors, fit workout, Reiki, anything that makes you feel good on the inside goes into there. Local professional service we've already discussed. So that's your accountants, estate agents, lawyers, etc. Leisure and tourism. Does your business and or event, I use business in a broad term here, bring people into the borough? If your answer is yes, then you are eligible. So these are going to be your festivals. These are going to be your organisations that are constantly doing things to put in here. These are things like the Port Pie Shop and Museum, which are, deemed points of interest. Twin Lakes would fall into that particular category if you wanted to nominate them. Outstanding customer service is once again a open category. This is for any business that has staff that go above and beyond, which I would like to think is pretty much all of them within the borough. Sustainability and environmental green impact. That is for businesses that do sustainable means, recycle, locally sourced. Basically, they do things to reduce their carbon footprint. If you want to kind of have an idea on where to start with those, look at Melton Green Week and look at the businesses that are partaking in that as a sort of starting point. And one that I missed off going through is Best New Business. Right. So Best New Business is any business that has been set up, so established within the last 2 years. So that's going to be June 1st. So that's going to be from June 2024 to June 2026. Now, I did query a couple of things with James on this. New in this case means it's set up in that time. So if we take something like, if you've been set up after that and then moved or changed premises, you wouldn't be eligible there. You would have to pick one of the other categories. You have to be newly established from that June 2024 through to June 2026, because that's why nominations are open. Right, so now I've explained the categories, let me talk about what you need to actually admit. So you're going to need two things and potentially one thing as your optional, which is that. We'll explain why that's the thing in a minute. So thing none, you're going to need a device that can connect to the internet and allows you to type words. I am talking to you guys on my phone. I will be, when I share the screen in a minute, be doing the form on my laptop solely for the reason that it allows me to talk on the phone to you guys about the form whilst I'm typing up. You're going to need an internet connection. This could be your Wi-Fi, 4G, etc. As long as you can connect to the internet, you're golden. And an option is to have a new Word document or Word or Google Docs document. The reason I put this as a thing, it's entirely optional, is some of you are a little bit like me and like to do the old Word dump and then need to tidy things up before you submit it. So if you are a fellow Word dumper like me, then I would advise opening up a Word Google Doc first, write down everything that you want to say, tidy it when relevant, and then copy and paste it into the form that I'm about to show you. But that's entirely optional. So I'm going to escape that now. I am going to jump onto my streaming software and I am going to play with a couple of things because this is the first time I've actually done this. So we're good. We might have to, one moment. What we're going to do is we're going to do that. And now I'm going to go really big on the screen. Woo. And then we're going to go like that. And then we're going to screen it. I'm sure my device can handle it. I'd screen share. We'll find out now. And then we're going to share. And we have a form. Hooray. Right. So we're now going to make that nice and big so you can see it. And then I'm going to take you onto there. So you're going to want to go either right now or after the thing is https or www.meltonbid.co.uk/awards. If you've typed it incorrectly, you will see a page that looks like this. If you don't, you've typed it in wrong. So you're going to go down that. Now, this is our nominations form. As I've already said, nominations has been out on the 30th of June. And if you are still unsure about the categories, which one will fit, they've actually been quite nice in that they've listed each individual category you could nominate for and the criteria for that. So first things first, you're going to name the Melton business or person you wish to nominate. So as I'm going to go through, I'm going to kind of say, so your business, you might think it's a traditional business. You can, barring they are for the relevant calendar, nominate community projects. And you can, where relevant, nominate events. Now, I'll do a couple of examples of each just so you know what I mean when I discuss this. So the person that we're going to nominate, we'll take, for example, we're going to take tubes as our little example one. So we've got our tubes. So we're now going to select the category you can nominate them for. Now, you are allowed to nominate your business or event or community project, whichever one you're wanting to do, for as many awards categories as you wish, as long as they fit. So, for example, you could make the argument that tubes could fit in arts and culture because they've hosted things like the Comedy Club previously, and they actually were the venue that Meltdown, who was a finalist at last year's arts and culture, took place. So you could make the argument that they could be arts and culture. They're not going to be best business beauty. They're not going to be Curtis Coffee. They're not a chain, so you could tip them for best independent. Health and well-being, probably not. Leisure and tourism, not so sure. They don't make their own food. They've been going longer than I have been alive, so they're not going to be eligible here. They're a nightclub, so they would fall in best pub and hospitality. They're not a restaurant. They're not a takeaway. You could say they do outstanding customer service. They're not a professional service. You can't really do exercise there. We don't know their sustainability thing, so we're probably not going to tick that box. And this is a particular business, not a person, so we're not going to tick business person of the year. So we have ticked for choose 1, 2, 3, 4 categories. So when the nomination gets submitted, Tubes will be counted in all 4 of those things. So in less than 500 words, you're going to tell your nominee why, you're going to tell the judges why your nominee of choice should be shortlisted for a Melton Bid Award. So I could say Tubes has been open for years and runs and hosts different types of nights out. So obviously I'm just doing it quite short because I'm going to be doing multiple examples with you guys. You would type a bit more than I've done there. And then you would put your name. So my name is Kelly. So I'm just going to type and talk. So my name is Kelly. My email address is thisismymelton@gmail.com. And this is where that sponsorship thing I mentioned earlier comes into play. So you can tick to go onto the mailing list, so you will get emails about all the different things tied to the awards going forward. And if you wish to inquire about sponsorship packages that I discussed, then you would tick that box as well. So you would click submit at this point. I'm not going to click submit here because otherwise it will mess the back end up and the person having to sort it out will cry. So what I'm going to do is clear the form instead because I'm going to need to do that to walk through another example. So I have done Tubes, which is very clearly a business. So let's now look at events. So for this event, I am going to look at Tough Mudder Midlands. So events and community projects, as long as they fit within one of these categories, are fair game to be nominated. So let's go through again. Arts and culture, not 100% sure it fit. It's not going to fit for any of these ones, but it could fit for health and well-being. It could fit for leisure and tourism. Health and well-being because of the camaraderie aspect and the work they do for physical and mental health. Leisure and tourism, you're bringing lots of people to Beaver Castle that wouldn't step foot in Melton otherwise. They don't make food. They've been going for a while, so they're not a new business. They're not going to fit in any of these, but they would definitely fix in sports and exercise. So Tough Mudder, we've put them down for 3 awards there, and you would do the exact same process there. And we would clear that form. Well, you would submit. I'm just clearing the form for that example. And then if we was to do something like, where's it gone? And then if you're looking at community projects, you could look at Welly's Sunny Skies Cafe, which is located at the Country Park, for those of you who don't know. And you could say for them, you could put them as best independent because they're not a chain. You could put them as best cafe and coffee shop. You could put them in outstanding customer services, not best takeaway, outstanding customer service as well. So business in this particular case is fairly broad. And as long as you can fit in at least one of these 16 categories that we have discussed, then it is fair game. So I'm now going to change that and change on. We're going to go spare that window. We want that one. Share again. And then we are going to go to that one and F5 there. And then scroll through all that because it's just taken me to... Okay, there we go. So I've got 4 top tips for you to help increase your chances. These are things that I've noticed across multiple awards, not just the ones through Melton Bid, but when the Melton Times did it as well, that have helped decide a winner. So, number 1, if you run a community project, event, business that qualifies, encourage people to nominate you. It is very obvious for a judging committee standpoint, if you've got one business in a category that has got 100 nominations compared to the rest of them that have got 3 or 4, that 100 is automatically going to be seen in a more positive light, because it's such a great jump, and clearly people want to back it, because otherwise it wouldn't have had 100 nominations. So if you do run a business, if you are running a community project that you think qualifies, if you do run a various event or attend a various event, encourage people to nominate you. So customers, your employees, your family members, friends, etc. Encourage as many people to nominate you as possible. You can share this very old video here, so that you literally have step by step for those people that are like, I don't know what to do. Now you can share this. Happy days. Thing number 2, you can enter a nominee, as we just went through with the examples, for as many categories as you wish, as long as they are relevant. So if you want to do choose for 3-4 categories like we did in the example, do so. If you want to put Glaston budget in for multiple, do so. If you want to do 1940s weekend, if you want to do mountain computers, so on and so forth, as long as the category fits for that business, go for it. Number 3, now this is a pet peeve of mine. I've said it already, and I will say it again, and I will keep saying it until not a single person makes the mistake. You are allowed to nominate as many businesses, people, community projects, events as you see fit. However, you must ensure that each separate nominee you have is on a different form. So if I was to do Tough Mudder, Tubes and Wellies, I would need to do one form for Tubes, one form for Wellies, one form for Tough Mudder. If I put all 3 on the same form, because you're going to end up putting the likes of Tough Mudder in this cafe section, or Tubes in health and fitness, and it's just not going to fit. And it's going to stress the poor soul who's got to sort it all out after nominations day. So please ensure when you submit your nominations, you do one form per nominee. So if we go back to it, so if we was to take Mountain Computers, Raghouse, and Miss B's, that would be one for Raghouse, one for Miss B's, one for Mountain Computers, so on and so forth. Just make sure that you do one form per nominee. And if you've got an amazing story about your nominee, then tell the judges about it. If they've come to the rescue when you've needed them most, tell us about it. If there is a member of staff there that always knows the right thing and makes you smile, tell us about it. Tell us about your story with that particular nominee, with that particular business, with that particular event, because it will automatically stand out amongst all the. It's lovely. For me personally, the best example of that was actually last year's winner, which was Fletcher's Boutique. So Fletcher's Boutique, they won an award last year, and one of the reasons that they won was because there was a really good story behind the team, behind the business, and how the business was set up, and the challenges that it took, and the overcoming those challenges to get to that stage. So if you want an example of just how important that storytelling is, look at winners like Fletcher's Boutique as your blueprint, because ultimately it was those particular stories that made them win in a very competitive category. In fact, one of the most competitive out of the categories that we had last year. So if you've ever wondered how important your storytelling is, there you go. It could literally be the difference between if you're shortlisted in a very competitive category and if you're not. So to sum up, because I don't think I've had any questions in the comment section, so I think we can just go straight to the summary. Nominations are going to close at midnight on the 30th of June. Those sponsorship packages are available, and they do start from £100. You can submit the nominations by visiting www or https:// depending on which one you prefer, meltonbid.co.uk/awards, of which you will do the form that I've walked you guys through and shown you. You are welcome to enter a business in as many of the 16 categories that I've listed as you deem fit. Just make sure they are relevant. Don't be putting Tubes in health. Don't be putting tubes in health and wellness or sports and exercise. Don't be turning around and putting biscottis in arts and culture. Because whilst the judging committee might find it funny, it doesn't fit, and you're just setting them, that particular nominee, up to fail in that particular category. So you're allowed to submit them in as many of that 16. Just make sure they fit, just make sure they're relevant. And as I've already said, if you want to nominate 20 different businesses, 20 different events, 20 different community projects that all fit within that group, you are welcome to do so. Go nuts, go ham. Just make sure you submit one form per nominee. So if we was to do tubes, one form for tubes, one form for biscottis, one form for Tough Mudder, Glaston Budget, 40s, Light Switch On, Scarface, Computers, Montero, etc. You would do a separate form for every single one of them. You're welcome to nominate as many as you please, just do it one separate form for each person. So I've not seen any questions in the comment section so far. If you are watching this back and you would like to ask a question, by all means, pop it in the comments. I'll have it ping up on my notifications if you're watching this retroactively, and therefore asking the questions then, and I will either answer them as they ping up, or I will direct you onto the best person to ask on that particular thing there. So I'm going to escape that now. I'm going to pop back on there. Thank you for those of you that have tuned in today to watch this. If you are watching this back, by all means do so. If you've got any questions, feel free to throw them in the comment section. I'll pick it up on my phone. And other than that, make sure to share this video so your colleagues, co-workers, business of choice, etc., so that people know how to complete the form, and therefore we can get lots of nominations and all behind Dundee. So don't forget that deadline is the midnight on the 30th of June. So you basically got the rest of the month to do it. And all I can say then is we look forward to the nominations, and good luck. I'll see you guys in a bit.